be kind. Look deep in our hearts and you will find we have tried to do our very best, but players don't care. We need a rest. Just think of our families, think of our friends, think of our IPR teams, make amends. We did what was asked, we did what Phil asked. Now you're coming at us with the axe. Ash, please no. Asher, please no. Asher, please spare us. Asher, please spare us. Asher, please no. You're fired. Ha 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 ha. You're fired. Ha 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 ha. Phil screwed this up. There is no doubt. That doesn't mean we can just muck about. Down with the spending, to hell with the people. Burn it all down. The schoolyard, the steeple. Fire and brimstone will purify the mess that was brought. A tear to my eye. This hurts me more than you think, my children, but I must do what I must, and you should just listen. Enough of the wailing, enough of the tears, enough of you crying of your countless fears. Thank Phil and thank Sarah, they left you here flat, crying alone, and then they just spat on your hard work, your frail little studios. They bailed, now they sit on a yacht while you receive naught. Asha, please don't do this to us. You surely will just end up making a fuss. You'll save money, sure, but what you lose is much worse. He'll take our hearts in your purse and damn our dreams to a hearse. You're fired, ha 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 ha. You're fired, ha 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 ha. Phil screwed this up, there is no doubt. That doesn't mean we can just muck about. Down with the spending, to hell with the people. Burn it all down. The schoolyard, the steeple. Fire and brimstone will purify the mess that was brought. A tear to my eye. This hurts me more than you think, my children, but I must do what I must, and you should just listen. Enough of the wailing, enough of the tears, enough of you crying of your countless fears. You're fired, ha 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 ha. You're fired, ha 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 ha. Phil screwed this up, there is no doubt. That doesn't mean we can just muck about. Down with the spending, to hell with the people. Burn it all down. The schoolyard, the steeple. Fire and brimstone will purify the mess that was brought. A tear to my eye. This hurts me more than you think, my children, but I must do what I must, and you should just listen. Enough of the wailing, enough of the tears, enough of you crying of your countless fears. Thank Phil and thank Sarah, they left you here flat, crying alone, and then they just spat on your hard work, your frail little studios. They bailed, now they sit on a yacht while you receive no.
Attend the tale of Maxwell Roth. He sought the footlights like a moth, his sense of timing never off until he opted to collaborate with a hooded reprobate. The blighter and assassin made a deadly double bill. Jokes, 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 make 'em laugh until they choke. Fairly slay 'em in the aisles, maidens fair and princes charming. Thrills, 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 dashing feats and bloody spills, and I guarantee you'll never see the ending coming. The curtain rose, the scene was set, they danced a murderous duet, and much deserving blood was let up too. The scene wherein they disagreed on who should live and who should bleed, and Maxwell Rothy then received a very bad review. Jokes, 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 and there's daggers and there's cloaks, but behind the scenes the leading players differ on the plot. Laugh, laugh, laugh at the dandy's new red scarf. Now 8 shows a week to Beelzebub is his eternal lot. Jokes, 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 make 'em laugh until they choke, fairly slay 'em in the aisles. Mates Fair and Princess Charming, thrills, 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 dashing feats and bloody spills, and I guarantee you'll never see the ending coming.
Did you see it coming? Did you see the ending coming? Probably not. Probably not. That's how they get you. That's how they get you. How's everybody doing? Everybody feeling good? Everybody feeling live? I feel like you have to come in with a lot of energy. You got to come in with words, pronouncements, and such. And such. I just saw this drop. I don't know if you guys saw this. So, do you guys remember when they first revealed AC Black Flag Resynced? They showed some of the cutscenes from the original, and some of the feedback was like, it's like the lighting's different than the original, the weather's different in this cinematic versus the other one. Well, feedback works, my friends. Feedback does seem to work. Gaming Landmarks, friend of the channel, posted this comparison. Ubisoft listened to fan feedback about a particular scene. I have reason to believe it's multiple scenes that they actually took feedback on to specifically tailor the lighting and weather to match the original's weather. But as you can see in this original scene, Black Flag Resynced and altered it in the final build to fit the vibes of the original game, proof that fan feedback through constructive criticism prevails. As you can see, this was what they showed in the preview footage, and then this is what you can see in the final build, which much more closely reaches or matches the original look, which had this scene playing out at like dusk. And so, you know, you get the warmer coloring as opposed to the blue that was here. And it's one of those things that like happens when you have a fully dynamic weather system and day-night cycle, is that you'll have scenes like this. And for one player, it looks like this. For another player, it looks like this. But the fan feedback was, we just want it to look like the original. Just make it warm, make it toasty like this, little overcast. They did it. And I mean, I think it looks really good. So there you go. Feedback actually works. Isn't that just evening lighting? Yeah. No, I mean, as far as I can tell, it's basically you just set the time of day for the cutscene, that it always plays out at this time of day as opposed to whatever the time of day in the quest mission, whatever is at that point. But it's one of those things that people will notice if it doesn't match it, like the original vibe. I'm trying to look at something kind of fun and nice before we get into the depth of what we're about to discuss, which is shocking. Asha posted an article. To be fair, okay, she has been transparent, which I think is good. I think that's good. There's a bug flying around. That's good. Not many executives are transparent. Come on, you bastard. He's coming at me. There's one fly. I left the window open for 20 minutes and now this happens. Why do all the bad things always happen to me? I tell you what. I'm joking. Okay, I'm joking. It's supposed to be like, oh, anyway. But she is being transparent, and I will say she says something in this post that is so unbelievable. I had to do like an actual double take. It's like actually stunning. Okay. I liked Phil. Okay. I thought Phil was a cool guy. I thought Phil was nice. He seemed like a nice, chill guy. But bro, I don't know how else you read into what's being described here without concluding that like there were levels of incompetence that were like truly shocking. Like truly shocking.
1539 donated $20 through Super Chat. I'm just happy Undead Labs safe. With them only supporting State of Decay with updates and not having a new edition for 8 years, I thought the studio would be axed.
Yeah.
Now I want to know what funds to finish and grow.
Now I want to know what funds to finish and grow mean. Yeah, so we'll go through it. Honestly, like honest first reaction, this is way better than like this is the best worst case scenario. Does that make sense? Like, obviously, ideally, you never get to the point where you have to lay off thousands of people. If you're running your company properly, you shouldn't need to do that. You should just grow, right? But considering they needed to do layoffs apparently because they were hemorrhaging money, this does pretty much line up with like the best case scenario outcome, because they are not just shutting things down. Like even some of the layoffs that Phil did back when he was in charge were more bizarre than this. Like Tango Gameworks is the classic one. Like they released one of the best games of the previous year. Everybody loves it. Surprise shadow drop, and then they shut them down. You know, it's like, what? These, I think, makes sense. And honestly, they are being, I can't believe I'm saying this about a Microsoft company, but they seem to be behaving in a more generous way than not, which is shocking to use the term generosity in the context of something Microsoft related. But like seriously, there actually do seem to be some flowers being handed out, which is surprising. Surprising. But we'll talk about it, because like seriously, some of the stuff that she outlines in here is like, I've said before that I'm kind of surprised Satya has not just like shut down Microsoft, shut down Xbox. Honestly, after reading more and more of what she's described, I'm even more shocked that he has allowed it to continue operating. Just stunning levels of managerial, I would say idiocy, but I'm sure they had good reasons for doing it. I just think, now we have the benefit of hindsight. Hindsight's 2020. It's easier to see the mistakes looking back. But I mean, so much of this is just stunning. It's just stunning. So we're going to go through her whole statement. We're not going to we're not going to skip anything. We're going to read the whole thing.
Through Super Chat.
Okay.
It's fine throwing Phil under the bus, but culpability starts with Satya opening the war chest because he was long on Xbox. Fiscal discipline is not bad.
Yeah.
Under any circumstance. Why isn't MS actually
using Blizzard? I guess it depends on what you mean by using. They are trying to milk it, and they seemingly are. I mean, like Overwatch is still regularly pumping out updates and generating a lot of money. Activision is generating a lot of money. King is generating a lot of money. It's just, I mean, again, the entire premise, it really seems like the entire premise of Phil Spencer's Xbox was that you have the big guys like Call of Duty, Overwatch, World of Warcraft, the mobile games like Candy Crush. Those guys generate the vast majority of the money. They also spend a lot of it, but they generate the vast majority of the money. And then all of the little teams get to make the little bitty stuff that fits in all the cracks and crevices to fill out the offering of Game Pass. So you subscribe and stay subscribed. That works until Call of Duty has a bad year. And then all of a sudden there's not enough money to pay for anything. And it's really, really delicate at that point. So it seems like there were a couple of basic assumptions that were, or hopes that Game Pass was built on that just don't seem to be, or seem to have been borne out. The other thing is that the clearest growth mechanic for Game Pass has been consoles. Like when somebody buys an Xbox, they buy Game Pass. The data seems to suggest that the attachment rate is like crazy. So if you can get somebody to buy an Xbox, they will get Game Pass. The problem is they can't get people to buy Xbox. And so Sarah was like, I know, make everything an Xbox and then everybody will have one and then everybody will get Game Pass. And it's like, Sarah, come on, Sarah. It just seems like there were a bunch of mistakes made for years. But while what you bring up is like financial responsibility, which I think is an important point. I think that is important to raise, because Microsoft's general approach with stuff is throw money at it until something happens. Like just throw money until something happens and then profit. Like that seems to be the goal, which is kind of amazing. But they did it with Mixer, where they just threw money at people like Ninja. Was Ninja the mixer? I think he was the mixer guy that moved over there. It's been a while. But like Mixer, they just threw money at it. The Windows Phone, they just threw money at it, trying to make that a thing. The Zune, they just throw money at that. Like they just throw money at all these projects, and then when they don't work out, they just cut and bail. And that's why I'm kind of shocked that they didn't just cut and bail with this. Is that this. When Phil left, we knew Xbox was sick, but probably needed some medicine and could get back on track. Asha later revealed just how bad it was, and it was like, oh no, they've got like tuberculosis and are terminal unless they get some serious treatment. Now Asha is describing it, and it's just like straight up leprosy, and they've already had an arm fall off. Like that's basically where they're at. One of the things she's going to describe here is so stunning and shocking. It could be made up, but it's not. Like it's so ridiculous that if this leaked a month ago, we would have been like, come on, be serious now. But this is real. It's real. It's insane. It's insane. Did you see like 6 creators broke embargo for AC? Dude, it's up to like 40 or 50. Yeah, I personally, I don't know why they do staggered embargoes. I don't know why. So they have embargoes for like different things at different times on different dates. And there's a lot of YouTubers and streamers out there that can't read, apparently. And so they thought, oh, I can just post whatever when an embargo lifts, but that's not how it works. So yeah, it's a great way to never get put on any sort of media contact list ever again. You might think, oh, I can get easy views by posting my review or video early, but it's like, don't play that game. Don't do that. Don't do that. That's a bad idea. Yeah. My collector's edition for Black Flag should come in this week. Luke, were you able to get one? I work from home, so my patience will be tested. No, I did not buy a collector's edition for Resynced. I have the original right there from Asia, actually. The Asian collector's edition is actually bigger than the American one from back in 2013. And I love it dearly. I love it dearly. It's great. But no, I did not buy a collector's edition for Black Flag Resynced. I would like one, but I forgot to do it, and then they sold out. So this was not like, oh, I'm being responsible. No, I forgot. And then we were on stream. Somebody was like, did you get one? I was like, nope, totally forgot. Oops, missed it. What are you gonna do? Okay, real quick, let me read these and then we'll get into it. I want to hear the whole song. It's too bad you didn't see the ending coming. That's how it goes. Thank you for the 10 degrees below. Thank you for the membership. Thanks, Luke, for being my favorite white guy with glasses and a beard who talks to himself in front of a camera. Got you. You're welcome. Spark, thank you for the 2. I'm still employed, so that's good. That is good. I agree. And I agree, Spark. Thank you for that 20. That's very generous. About Undead Labs being quote unquote safe. And we'll talk about the specifics of what is happening with each studio. But again, I do think that this is the best of the worst case scenarios. They could have just shut the studios down and that's it. But they actually seem to be giving most of them an off ramp, which is surprising because most companies don't do that. They're just like, no, you're fired. Bye. Like that's usually how it works. But they're actually giving them funding, and like they're also lifting restrictions and requirements. Like Undead Labs' new owner will not be required to release State of Decay 3 on Game Pass. It's like they literally are undoing that to get a buyer more interested, which makes you really ponder, like, what is the compensation for Game Pass participation? Not that good. Like, it's very interesting. But I'm glad they're going to let them, because I was going to crash TF out if they were to just shut this down and cancel the game. I would have been pretty pissed. Yeah, Bluepoint never got that. Yeah, I mean, that's another example of like a studio there. I guarantee you there would have been other owners or other buyers very interested in Bluepoint, but Sony was like, nope, bye. We can't write you off completely unless we fire all of you. So yeah, I agree. It's good that they gave him an off ramp, and I'm still kind of surprised they did. Mobster, thank you for the 5. I'm building a SFX with an old 1090 or 10900 and a 2080 Ti. All I need is RAM and a power supply. Love the channel. Love you, my friend. Good luck. The power supply should be easy. The RAM is the tricky bit. The RAM is the tricky bit for sure right now. Keep an eye on like Facebook Marketplace and stuff on like around college campuses. A lot of college students upgrade PCs pretty regularly, and you can get good deals there. Kyle, thank you for the 9 months. I'm not for job losses and hope they get back on their feet, but I'm also not that worried about these layoffs being necessarily bad for Xbox yet. We'll talk about it because they do seem very tactical, and I think a lot more of this is going to hit middle managers than actual like individual game devs, and I'll explain why in a second. But I think that this is more of a structural reformation than a just cut everything, which I think is probably for all the studios good. Like Asha is going to describe some of these things in here that directly tie into stuff we've been talking about for years at this point, which is like, how does it take this studio a year to do one update for their game, fixing something they broke a year ago? It's almost like they have a ridiculous number of middle managers clogging up decision making and making things take way longer and increasing inefficiencies and stuff. It's almost like that. And then we see this start to explain it, you know. I think that it's going to start to connect some dots. So we'll see. We'll see. But it is clear it needed to happen. I mean, you can't operate a business like Xbox on 3% margins. That just doesn't make sense. Ron DeGreat, I think, thank you for the 2. Sony will come out to play. Sony come out to play. Oh, like they need to make another bad decision. They got their bad decision out of the way last week, so they got well ahead of everybody. Yeah. Thank you again, on Night for that very generous 20. Appreciate you. Fearbo, thank you for the 2. Did you see like 6 creators? Oh yeah, I did read that one. Yes. It's like they don't want to do anything with Ubisoft ever again. Titan Gaming, thank you for the 5 months. My collector's edition for Black Flag Racing. So I did read that one. Daddy J, thank you for the 5. Hey Luke, any games you're playing for yourself? Any underrated game you're looking forward to that you think people may be sleeping on? I mean, I've been playing a good number of things. The main one I've been playing very recently is Black Flag Racing. Dab. Yes, I do intend to have a video out for the review embargo. As for whether it's like a comprehensive I finished everything review or a work in progress remains to be seen because I'm trying to get through it. But we'll talk about that at a later date. Other than that, I've been replaying Divinity Original Sin 2 with some friends. Like every few nights we've been working through a co-op campaign together, and honestly, pretty good. 2 thumbs up. It's a good time. There's a lot of things they improved with Baldur's Gate that Baldur's Gate just cranked all the dials. So going back to Divinity Original Sin 2 is like, oh yeah, that's how they used to do this. Oh, that's weird. You know, there's a lot of weird things like that, but overall still very good. But yeah, that's what we've been doing. Spark, thank you for that 5. If Xbox shut down these studios, then it would be the final PR disaster that killed them. I think everybody was braced for it to be worst case scenario. So this actually ends up being like, oh, I mean, it's still bad, but like it's not as bad as it could have. Sierra, thank you for that one. Did you see the reports around the extent of Bungie's brass money wasting, incubation projects that went nowhere, New York penthouses, etc.? Yeah, it's pretty clear. Like the people that ran Bungie, in my opinion, allegedly, they got their massive bag and then they just kind of effed off. Like they were totally checked out, especially after they sold to Sony. But even in the lead up to that, they were pretty much completely checked out. And I mean, there was very little effort seemingly going into stuff like Destiny at that point. Yeah, it's why Sony, I think, has been trying to get layoffs and restructurings done before they have to vest all of the stock options and stuff, because they clearly aren't happy about how things were run and how the money was spent. Dog, I'm not sure what it is, but Dog, thank you for the 5. Imagine if AC Odyssey was remade on the current Anvil engine. Dude, I think that'd be fire. That's a tough one to remake though, because that's not as easy as like a pretty linear story with like mostly open world exploration and stuff. That is a lot of work to redo, but maybe it's easier because it's the newer Anvil engine. Maybe that would be easier to remaster. Maybe not a remake, but a remaster. That could be really cool. Don't give me hope. I love me some AC Odyssey. Jacob, thank you for the 10. Very generous. Thank you. They finally admit that Game Pass is a big part of the problem. They didn't grow enough subscribers, 100 million by 2030. But Asha's 1 billion users a day comment doesn't seem like they're learning the lesson here. I think her point is that there's a lot of people familiar with Xbox. The brand is very strong and huge. It's how do you take the brand that everybody knows about? Everybody's heard of Xbox, but how do you take that brand now and turn it back into a product that those same people will buy? That's the tricky bit that they've kind of been floundering on for a while, which is that everybody knows about Xbox, but not many people are buying them, spending money with them. That's the problem. What good is it to be well known? It's like being a celebrity everybody knows about, but you're not rich. It's just like you get all the negatives of fame, but none of the fortune. That's basically where they're at. They're like the super rich homeless person, or not super rich, the super famous homeless person, as opposed to being like rich and famous. They're just famous and broke. That's basically what's happening. That's basically what they're happening. Let's see. As for Game Pass being part of the problem, I think what it is that Game Pass was pitched as it came out of the same era as the mass push of like Netflix and Disney Plus and all that. And some of the assumptions made with it, like endless growth, just don't seem to have been borne out. And furthermore, Game Pass works by subsidizing small projects with big ones, which again works when the big projects are making a lot of money. But the moment they have a bad year, everything falls apart, which is what seemingly happened here, which caused most of this. And then Kyle, thank you for that. Do you think DDR4 RAM is still good enough in the big 2026? I will let people more tech savvy than me answer that, but I think for most applications, most games, yeah, I don't think you need 6400 megahertz. Like I think you're going to be fine, but I'll let other people answer who are smarter than me on that topic. But I do think for most people that's going to be good enough. Yeah, I don't think you need to go crazy. And then over on Twitch, Cyrus, thank you for that sub with Prime. Also Kramawi PL, thank you for the sub, and also Lexendrock, thank you for the 6 months over on Twitch, my friends. Thank you. Appreciate you. And lastly, Caleb with a 5 before we get into it. With all we've learned about Xbox Now, lost 64 cents for every dollar. Who is worse, Xbox, or who is worse for Xbox, Don Matrick or Phil Spencer? That's a tricky one because Don Matrick, I think, started the first domino that led to Phil Spencer having so much trouble. And I do think Phil's ideas were in a lot of ways ahead of their time. Like if they were able to launch a Series S right now with hardware costs being crazy high and they had like spent the last 5 years preparing for a lower priced piece of hardware, that could have worked. It just launched like 7 years too early. But you also, it's hard to argue with the catastrophic mismanagement that we're about to go through. Like Don Matrick screwed up really badly over the course of about a year. Most of Don Matrick's decisions happened in about a year. His crazy like anti-consumer stuff with no game sharing, with always online connectivity. Imagine that if console makers did that. He also did a lot of crazy stuff, just PR blunders across the board, every chance he had, bundling in the Kinect when nobody wanted the Kinect, even like forcing people to buy it, things like that. But he did all that within like a year. Phil Spencer seemingly mismanaged Xbox for like a solid decade. Pretty damn near close to it. Most of the mistakes were made in the last like 5 years or so. And just doubled down on all of them over and over and over and over and over and over again. So it's like, do you blame the first guy that knocked over the first domino, or the second guy who, even when he could have stopped the dominoes falling, just kind of stood and watched and then knocked some more over? Like, I don't know. But okay, let's talk about it. Let's finally get to the point. Read chat here? No, Olak, I don't. Thank you for being here. We just get busy. No watch today. You're right. We should put on a watch. We should put on a watch. Neil has a lot more money than you. He's better than us. We're poor. Oh, Neil. Oh, Neilithy. Oh, Neilman. Neil Druckmann. Dude, one of the top comments, did you guys see the top comment on one of our stream clips about that? It was pretty funny. Okay, look at this. So shout out to Major Trenton commented on the video. Great to see you, my friend. Glad to have you. But one of the top comments that made me cackle this morning. Come on. They went full Druckmann. Never go full Druckmann. Also, once Druckmann got full creative control, it was over. It became full Reddit, which is pretty funny. That's also good. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. I like how you can tell when somebody spends a lot of time on Reddit, just not just in their opinions, but also just how they talk and how they act. Like you just immediately, you spend a lot of time on Reddit. I can tell. It's one of those good insults when you see somebody, you're like, I can tell you spend a lot of time on Reddit. Same thing when it's like, you want to insult somebody, you're like, you look easy to draw. You know, like little stuff like that. That's like one of those, wait, was that in it? I think he just dissed me. I think he just dissed me. You know, I love it. Okay, let's read this. New segment. Dude, I want to watch Lord of the Rings now. Ugh. Sorry, my sister texted me. My sister, can you imagine? They let them, I let them have my number. Unbelievable. Sure, comma. I'm just on stream at the moment. So text me when you arrive. There we go. Anyway, let's do this. Let's talk about Asha and layoffs and catastrophic decision making that went on for years and years and years and years and years. Rings of Power, how dare you? Okay. So today is the day they have announced the Xbox restructurings that have been rumored for weeks and weeks. I mean, not even rumored. We've known about them. They were announced and then we've just been braced for them. But honest first reaction of all of the bad possible outcomes, this is probably one of the better ones. Like if we look at the spectrum of awful, okay? This is like the spectrum of awful. We've got good outcome, fine outcome, and then like bad outcome. This was always going to be somewhere over here, right? We knew it was going to be somewhere over here. It's going to be bad. There was no way that they're like, actually, we're expanding even more. They weren't going to do that. But out of all the possible bad outcomes, this is probably like right about here. They are giving pretty much all of the studios that are being divested, they're giving all of them an off-ramp. They're giving pretty much all of them funding and the ability to finish the projects they were doing. So State of Decay 3 is not being shuttered and canceled, which is one thing that was apparently on the board for possibility. Most of the studios are being partnered with future owners, and they're going to spin them off and give those owners creative control. And also, it seems like pretty much all of the studios, I think all of them, but there's possibility that maybe one of them this isn't true for, but I think all of them retain their IP, which is awesome. Like they didn't have to do that, but like Double Fine spinning off means Double Fine gets to keep Psychonauts, which is great. You remember that old video of like the Matt Booty sitting with Double Fine when they first acquired them, and they were like, well, all of your creative pitches and stuff will be owned by Xbox and by Microsoft. Like that was one of the things that was pitched back then, and they seemingly are letting them take their IP, which is really, really cool. But having said that, let's actually look at what's going on here, because even though it is the best of a bad situation, even though they're like right here on the awful spectrum, it's still in the bad category, okay? It's still bad. There's a lot of layoffs happening today, but out of all the possible ways they could have done this, it does seem to be like the best of the worst, if that makes sense. Wrong on Psychonauts? Okay, we'll circle on it. Thank you. If I'm wrong, please correct me. I don't want to be wrong. It's possible the post that I was reading in the article I was reading also was mistaken. So please, if you have updated info, please let me know. Okay, we'll get to it. This is an important email I sent today to all employees at Xbox. Team, we are beginning the most significant restructure in Xbox history. After careful consideration, I made the difficult decision to reduce our team by approximately 3,200 through fiscal year 2027. This will include approximately 1,600 role eliminations today, and in addition, 4 studios will leave Xbox to new management. I recognize that a year-long restructuring creates additional challenges. Unfortunately, it's not possible to make all the necessary changes in a single day, and I want to be direct about the scale, which I appreciate, instead of like being like, okay, we're totally done now, and then continuing on. Beyond this, okay, so 1,600 roles eliminated today. Another, basically the other half are going to happen over the course of the next 9 months or 12 months, because it's through fiscal year 27, which is now until next June 30th. So they have pretty much a year to slowly get rid of the rest of the jobs. I know this is painful. These changes will directly affect people who have poured their creativity into building Xbox. Many joined us through acquisitions, and while others were recruited here or sought us out because they loved this industry and loved Xbox, today's decisions do not reflect their talent or dedication. But this is where she says the first crazy thing. Our business today is not healthy. I think most people saw that coming. We are operating at margins that are 3 to 10x lower than comparable platform and publishing businesses. We entered Gen 9 with a smaller install base and higher cost structure. To grow, we bet on Game Pass, multi-platform, and a broader portfolio of content. While those businesses have created meaningful value, they did not grow at the pace we expected. As that happened, our core business weakened, and we added more teams, more investment, and more time, hoping for a better outcome. And now the industry is facing the most severe hardware crisis in its history. We must reset Xbox. This is true. They did have less players, but then they also had way higher costs across the board. But it kind of echoes what Microsoft's general approach is with stuff, is to just throw money at it. Like, just throw money at it. There's no notice period. So in some countries, regulations dictate that you have to give like a notice period of like a month or 2 weeks or whatever. Other places, they can put them on like notice that they are candidates for layoffs and for restructurings. That's one way that it can be done, especially in unionized jobs. Other companies and other places throughout the world can just lay people off. It's just like, nope. This, like, your team is being shut down today, and it's just full stop. There still are often severance packages and stuff offered, but still, usually it's a pretty sudden thing, especially in the Western world. To grow, we bet on Game Pass, multi-platform, and a broad profile. Okay, I just read that. First, we will reset our content portfolio. Since 2018, we have aggressively expanded our studio portfolio, while the number of games created each month across the industry now outpaces the last 10 years combined. We now find ourselves competing not only with the largest publishers, but also with smaller independent studios. It is neither possible nor desirable to own every great independent studio. We have also learned that we are not the best home for every type of studio. In a typical year, we lost 64 cents for every dollar we invested. That's some Wall Street Bets level performance, bro. Like, that's crazy. That's crazy. Imagine going to like a financial advisor and they're like, yes, you should invest with us. Really, sir? Why? What's your stats? Well, you give us $1. Immediately 64 cents of that, gone. Like, it literally is the South Park and it's gone meme. Like, that's literally how they've been operating the business. And it's gone. Hold on. This.
Fantastic. A really smart decision, young man. We can put that check in a money market mutual fund. Then we'll reinvest the earnings into foreign currency accounts with compounding interest, and it's gone.
Like, that's how Microsoft has been running Xbox, okay? Like, that's literally how they've been offering. And it's gone. Like, that's how it's been working. It's crazy, but like, that's not actually that much of an exaggeration. As we reset Xbox, we will help independent creators succeed by providing open development tools and audiences realize their vision. I don't really know what this means. It just seems like maybe they want more indies to be able to publish there. So maybe they're gonna like open up a team that specifically targets, like, think of Mecha Chameleon, like finding a way to get that game on Xbox as it launches on Steam, you know, find a way to get those indie games available on Xbox immediately. Because like, imagine if those types of games that go mega viral, those people call them friend slop games and stuff. imagine if those games could also be playable on Xbox. Like that's a little competitive advantage that they could really double down on. So I think that's a good idea, especially because a lot of the biggest, most viral games nowadays are not coming from teams of 300, 500, 600 people. They're coming from like one or two devs that had a wacky idea and it went viral. You know, those are the games that tend to pop off. So you got to find a way to harbor them. Compulsion Games and Double Fine Productions will return to management and transition to independent studios with their IP. So this, as you can see, Compulsion Games and Double Fine Productions will transition to independent studios with their IP. So somebody in chat was saying that I was wrong about them having their IP with them. Let me know if there's some update to this, but this sounds like they keep their IP. They keep Psychonauts. They keep, in the case of Compulsion, like Midnight, South of Midnight. That sounds like it to me. Their IPs are not very valuable. Well, I mean, that's probably why Microsoft, like, I don't think Microsoft would be willing to give them Call of Duty, you know, but like if they want to keep, like, I don't think they were going to greenlight a sequel to South of Midnight. I don't think they were going to greenlight a sequel to Kiln, you know, maybe to Psychonauts, but I also, Jacob probably knows, I don't know if Psychonauts 2, how that performed. I don't remember. But either way, that's a good move. I think that is like objectively a good thing. Ninja Theory and Undead Labs have entered terms to join new ownership with funding to complete and grow Senua and State of Decay 3. This one is also kind of not clear. So Ninja Theory and Undead Labs, they will be bought out by either one new entity or by two separate entities. It's not clear. And they're being provided funding to complete and grow their games, which sounds like Microsoft is also going to pay that check. So or Microsoft and Xbox, they're going to pay for the funding or do like a publishing deal for Senua and State of Decay 3. That's interesting. But paired with this is also the revelation from Steven Totilo that Undead Labs' new owner will not be required to release State of Decay 3 on Game Pass, which was previously like a must do. Like, of course, typically, if you announce it for Game Pass, it's going to launch on Game Pass. Apparently, that will no longer be the case. But this also, again, this is a really good one. I was going to crash out catastrophically if they revealed that State of Decay 3 was just canceled and they were just going to can it. But no, they're actually giving them an off-ramp, letting somebody buy them, and they are apparently also going to provide funding to finish the game, which is like all, I think, good. I think that that's all good. In France, Arcane's management is beginning to, I can't read. In France, Arcane Lyon, Dishonored, of course, they're working on Blade. They're beginning required consultation with its Works Council to review potential strategic options. This is another way of describing, I think, the legal loopholes you have to jump through in France to do like layoffs and shutter a studio and stuff. They have a lot more government red tape to sift through. So they're not out of the woods yet. Apparently, other reporting is suggesting that they are being considered either for like full shutdown or they're being considered for selling off or something. But Microsoft doesn't want Arcane anymore. Xbox doesn't want it. They apparently are not pleased with how it's been managed. It's apparently over budget and it's been internally delayed significantly. So they are done with it and they're trying to find an off ramp for that as well. We are also making reductions across other units. This is where we get into some of the insane stuff. Okay. This next like little bit right here. Okay. We are also making reductions across other units, and in some cases, shifting investments to focus on higher priority projects. These changes vary in size across Activision, Bethesda, ZeniMax, Blizzard, King, Mojang, and Xbox Studios. None of our first-party publicly announced games or projects are being canceled as part of these reductions, okay? So no game cancellations, nothing's being shut down. They are continue working on all those. In addition, Mojang and King will now directly report to Asha. These two studios have increasingly become platforms and are our largest by monthly active players. They bring critical geographic, demographic, and differentiation to Xbox. So mobile games like Candy Crush and Mojang, which of course is Minecraft. So they see those as two big competitive edges that they have. I feel like Xbox already kind of doubles down on Minecraft a lot, but they apparently are going to try to double down even more on mobile games too, which makes sense. I mean, it prints money for them. Second, this is insane. This is where we get to the insanity, okay? And I have a visual representation of this. Second, we will reset our platform. We know that great technology gets better when it gets simpler, not bigger. Today, in some parts of the company, work passes through as many as 14 layers of management. "14 layers of management for decisions to be made." Allow me to demonstrate this, okay? This will take a moment, but I think that's the point, okay? You want to do something, okay? We want to, hey, Asha, I want to make Fallout New Vegas remastered. Okay. Ask Ted. Represented with PlayStation Physical Media, because these are basically just going to, these are antiques at this point. Okay. Ask Ted. Hey, that's a great idea. I'll ask Fred. Hey, that's a pretty good idea. Let me ask Rebecca. Oh, New Vegas remastered? That sounds super cool. Yeah, we should do that. Let me go ask Tim. Oh, I think that's a great idea. I would love Fallout New Vegas remastered. I think that's fantastic. Let me go ask John. I love this idea. We should absolutely do that. But I got to get a signature from Theodore. Love what you're doing. I think that's a great idea. Okay. I love it. I'm an ally. Let's go talk to Leon and get his signature. Love it. We should absolutely do that. I would love to do New Vegas remastered. Okay. One, just real quick. I gotta go ask Philippa. No one listens to me. I was a flop, but it's okay. Let's go ask Ted. New Vegas remastered. Love that idea. Let me ask. I'm running out of names. Jerry. No, we're not done yet. I love this. Let me go ask Rodrigo. Fantastic idea. I would love Fallout New Vegas remastered. Fantastic idea. Let me go also email Matt. Fallout New Vegas remastered. That's insane. I love it. We should do that. Let me go email Todd and make sure he's good to go with it. Okay.
I don't really know about that, but I guess we could do it. Let me, we could totally do that. I think that could be a good idea, especially if I can put my name on it. Let me go email Asha real quick, and I'll see if we can do this. That sounds like a good idea. Thanks.
Hello, it's Asha. The year is 2032. What do you want to do? That's 14 layers of management. 14 layers of management. Yeah, and then Todd says no. Yeah, after all that, no. That's insane. That's ridiculous. Hopefully you get the point. That's ridiculous. 14 layers of management to do anything at certain points in the company. To be clear, work passes in some parts of the company. Work passes through 14 layers of management. Do you start to understand why stuff can take so long within these companies? For us, we just did it as like, hey, we should do Fallout New Vegas remastered. Oh yeah, that's a good idea. Let me check with this person. And they're sending an email each and every single time that's happening. Maybe it takes a day to get to them. Maybe they have to schedule a call. But most of the time, this also means like you need to make a PowerPoint presentation. You need to go and you have to go and schedule a time next week to hop on a Zoom call Sorry, Microsoft Teams call. Didn't mean to be offensive. And talk with them and pitch the idea. And then they think about it. They have a team meeting, a roundup later in the week. They'll think about it. Next week, we'll get back to you. And then to get their approval, you have to go and do the same thing, schedule a PowerPoint with this manager above them. And you start to understand why it can take years to do basically nothing. So Asha immediately identifies 14 layers of management is ridiculous, which it is. Okay. So that's why they're sleeping on big IPs. Well, yeah. And this is why I think you see stuff like Fallout New Vegas, which everybody is like, that seems like such a no-brainer. Why are we not doing this? But it's because at certain points of the company, there's 14 layers of management, others probably 10, others maybe 5. But it's, I mean, the fact that anywhere there is 14 layers, that's insane. That's ridiculous. Absolutely mind-boggling.
At Own Night donated £20 through Super Chat.
Thank you.
And then it's worth bearing in mind that on top of that, Microsoft's certification can be a nightmare, and because Microsoft uses contractors, that disrupts development too.
Yep.
And they also have to get approval from Satya.
They have to get budgetary approval. They have to get everything approved from the finance teams, which is also part of these layers of management, I'm sure. Is like, we want to do this. We have to get a financial report on it and all that. But yeah, no, you're right. I mean, it's when you add in like contractors that work elsewhere in the world, probably language barriers, time zone differences, you start to understand why stuff takes so freaking long to do anything. It's absolutely outrageous. But again, I mean, it goes on. Our platform teams are 40% larger than they were at the start of this generation, even as our player base and playtime have declined. So Phil expanded the platform team by 40% while it was actively dying. What? Like, literally, while the platform itself is losing market share, Phil was hiring more people. And as this line goes up, spending goes up. And this gap that you see here is the money they're losing. Like, it's shocking. It's shocking. And 40% is not a small number. I mean, like, if they had 100 people, they added 40 more. Like, that's crazy. While the company is imploding. Xbox at the start of the Xbox Series generation, back in 2020, was like pretty aggressive and they were doing a lot of stuff. Phil added 40% more people as they were going all the way up through like the this is an Xbox era. What were they doing? This is inevitably what starts to happen with a lot of companies as they grow too big and grow really inefficient, is that you just start to fill it with middle managers. So middle managers just tend to clog up a ton of stuff and create all sorts of problems. And there's a lot of people that run very big and very financially successful companies that hate middle managers and can't stand them. Insert joke about Elon Musk here, but like one of the examples of this that they talk a lot in like business circles and business media and books and stuff is when Elon came in and he overhauled teams at multiple periods, but he's overhauled teams at like SpaceX, Tesla, even when they bought Twitter. And one of the things that Elon's management team does is that they come in and they will go to like a team, like literally this. They have the team of 14 middle managers, okay? They ask each of these middle managers to write a report on who they work with that's most competent. And they tell them, we have to do layoffs. So we need you to tell us which engineers, for example, you want to keep. Who gets the most done? Because those we can keep and then we'll lay off the rest of the teams. So each of these managers goes and writes a report on which engineers and the people beneath them that they like the most. And then Elon comes in and fires all of these people and puts those people that they said to save their jobs, they promote them. Because the middle managers almost never do anything. They just pass off the work of other people and filter it back up, right? You just fire the middle managers. And usually you can't tell that much of a difference. So getting rid of middle managers, I think, is the great cheat code with a lot of this, because they just tend to clog things up inevitably. Like, it just slows stuff down. So hearing that they're going to do that, I think makes sense. There's another phenomenon that is known as let's see, where is it? We talked about it previously. Do I have my notes on it? There's another phenomenon that happens a lot in business where companies will go and basically fill whatever empty space is available to them. So if they have the ability to lay off, multiple teams, they might do that, but they might also not. They just expand to fill the space that they have available to them. So if you give them enough runway, they'll just take it all up. It's kind of like when you move into a big house or a big apartment, and then you inevitably fill up all of the space in that apartment, even though you didn't have that stuff to fill out the space. Eventually you just spread out to fill it up. It's the same kind of thing. When you run a business or you're a manager within the business and you have the ability to expand 40%, you will. And that comes with no direct oversight or clear guidelines from management. Like, at no point should this have ever been allowed to happen. 14 layers of management is insane. They continue. So they expanded 40% larger than they were at the start of this generation, even as our player base and playtime have declined. That complexity has slowed decisions, blurred accountability, which is also refreshing to hear, and made it harder to deliver for players. As we reset Xbox, we will simplify. Accountability is another word to basically just try to describe when somebody does a good job, we know they are good at their job and we can promote them, make them in charge of bigger stuff. But when somebody does a stupid, we can fire them. When you have 14 layers of management, it starts to get really, really difficult to pin down who was responsible for the bad decision. Who's to blame, Who let this game get greenlit? Who let Redfall happen? Who let this happen? Who let that happen? How do you figure out who is responsible and who should have been, the guard at the gate that turned them away? When there's 14 people that it passed through, you get to just kind of point fingers in every which direction, because everybody was wrong. You can't fire everybody. I mean, you can, but... you start to hide behind those layers of management. And so by simplifying it down, you can actually get a clearer idea of who's making what decisions. We will reduce management layers to no more than 5 at I imagine this is for like the biggest stuff. So like if you're going to greenlight $200 million in spending, if you're going to greenlight Fallout New Vegas, you probably need the studio CEO who's going to be in charge of the game and the studio to be involved. You need like Matt Booty, Asha, Todd's probably involved. Like right there, you're already starting to get to that like 4 to 5 person range for decision makers. And she says she wants no more than 5 layers of management before you actually get there. And these are layers. So, I mean, some of these people are going to be on the same layer and it's just, but you get what I mean. Different decision makers within each layer. But that is a lot better than 14. And that's probably for only the biggest decisions that need a lot of clear decision making all the way up to the top. And where possible, they want 3. So for any given decision, they want on average 3 layers of decision making to determine what happens. Is this Bethesda? This is all of Xbox. What she's describing is all of Xbox. At certain points and certain parts of the company, they had as many as 14 layers of management. That's true for all of the teams that are underneath them, which is crazy. 5 is still crazy. BGS in its glory barely had 2. Well, so to be clear, what she's describing is Xbox as a company, okay? So when she's describing 5, she's also meaning like... Yeah, okay. I'm gonna have to do it this way. We'll do it live. F it. Okay. What she's describing is not just the studio decision making. What she's describing is like if you have BGS down here, okay, BGS. Above that, you have like Bethesda Softworks. Okay. Above that, you have ZeniMax. Above that, you have maybe Booty, and then you have Asha. Okay. So this would be 5 layers of management where somebody at the studio like Todd wants to do something. Todd wants greenlighting to do another Skyrim remake. Okay. He goes to his Bethesda Softworks guy. They go and they email the head of ZeniMax. ZeniMax goes and emails Matt Booty. Matt Booty brings it to Asha. She approves it. You're good to go. But that can happen much faster than another 14 steps along the way, you know? And again, I would expect that 5 is only for like the biggest decisions. What's not clear is whether this mentality is also going to be forced down to the little studios, because I would bet you, I think you're right. I think there's a lot more than 2 to 3 steps or layers of management within Bethesda. As we've outlined previously, their problems seem to be very systemic, where like, you know, you have somebody like a quest is being made. You have the writers that have to send something for approval from the coding team. The coding team has to send something to get approved from the animation team. Animation team has to go to the combat team. Combat team has to go to the art team again. The art team has to then go to the environments team and to get the environments built out. They finish that. Then they go back to the coding team. Like they just have a lot of inefficiencies in how they actually seem to do stuff according to their own former developers. That's not me saying that. That's according to people who worked there, that there's a lot of bloat. But that's separate from what we're discussing here, which is like the corporate structuring. Anyway, we will deliver success through a flatter organization that is built around makers, individual contributors focused on building, player coaches, leading or leaders who remain deeply involved in the work while developing their teams, and directly responsible individuals. I can't read. And directly responsible individuals, DRIs, who own key decisions and outcomes. Out of these, I would imagine like makers might be individual like team leads and stuff like that. Player coaches, leaders who remain deeply involved in the work while developing their teams. So like team leads, senior leadership, that type of thing. And then these DRIs, directly responsible individuals, these are the ones that if something goes bad, they're fired. But if it goes well, they get to claim credit, right? So these would be like the high level executive producers who are directly working on stuff. But they are having a flashlight shown on them to be like, okay, if you do good, you're going to get the bag, you're going to get the accolades, you'll get promoted. But if you greenlight a Redfall and let that happen, we're going to march you through the street. Shame, shame, shame. That's basically what they're describing. We will streamline how we work across our tools with cleaner code base, shared services, and 50% reduced vendor spend. Vendor can mean a lot here. It could mean contractors. It could mean marketing deals for games. So the goodie bags sent to influencers might be reduced. Oh God, it's not like they were sending me anyways. But like probably tighter budgets on marketing, tighter budgets on like big events and venues spend, like things like that. But also vendor spend. This could also directly tie into hardware. So it might also mean that they spend less money on like subsidizing hardware, less money on developing handhelds, like stuff like that. So that's also possible. Third, we're resetting how we operate. As Xbox grew our headcount, we became more fragmented. Teams, studios, and functions often operate independently, and it became harder to work towards a shared goal, make the right trade-offs, and get things done. Which is interesting because this was actually one of the key like managerial choices Phil made, which at first glance sounds really good, right? Like his idea was that we can go and buy studios. We'll let the studios do whatever they want in their own pursuit of success, and we'll leave them be. And that's what directly led to Redfall. Like there was reporting after the fact where people at Redfall Studio, at Arcane Austin, they wanted Phil and those guys, after they were acquired and after Phil came in, they wanted them to come in and cancel Redfall so that they could get working on like Prey 2. But Phil didn't do that because Phil wanted to be hands off. So he let them do whatever they were working on before and he didn't touch it. And so this fragmentation was part of the design, is that he didn't want to be involved. He didn't want to dictate, you have to do this. He didn't want to force this team that does great story stuff to be forced to make Horizon Hunters Gathering. You know, he didn't want to do that kind of thing. He wanted to leave them be however they were. But I think it kind of went sour frankly. Like it kind of went sour because that works if the team is working on good stuff, but a lot of the teams weren't. So they seem to get involved more later in the generation. But certainly this was one of the ideas that was well intentioned, I think, but ended up being a little short-sighted. Vendor also has to do with third-party tools. Vendors to me is third-party tools. What if this is just a clever way of saying you need to use Copilot? No more Claude. It's just like, no more Claude. You have to use that. Dude, I was talking to somebody who works at a big tech company, and dude, I found out, he casually mentioned, I was like, how often are these guys using AI tools? Like, are they actually using those? He's like, bro, you have no idea. He's like, I know of one engineer that spent just under $100,000, just under, it was 90 something thousand dollars in a single month on Claude tokens. It's like a software engineer or whatever. He spent just under $100,000 on the company card using Claude in a single month. Where's all the money for the AI bubble coming from? That. Not even joking. Hand to God. Like, what? What? But apparently it's because he's just taking like their entire code base or whatever he's working on. Every time he puts a prompt into Claude, he puts the entire code base in. And so every time it does anything, it's reading through all that, generating all these tokens or spending all these tokens to do it. And so he's just running up the company card. Like, it's crazy, but maybe that's what it is. Maybe you're right. Maybe that's just like, no more Claude. You have to use Copilot. Anyway. For the first time, we are establishing a chief operating officer with end-to-end P&L responsibility across content, hardware, platform, and services. Helen Chang has been promoted to this role and will report directly to me. Over nearly 2 decades at Xbox, Helen has helped build some of our most important businesses, from Xbox Live to leading Mojang and the Minecraft franchise. She will bring our businesses together under one operating model, making sure we make clear investment decisions, learn from our successes and failures, and hold ourselves accountable for results. Did they not have a chief operations person before this? Were they seriously operating a services like subscription-based model for their business, and they didn't have an operating officer, like a chief operating officer, a COO? That's wild. That's crazy. So they just didn't have somebody in charge of overall operations. Oh, they laid them off. I see. Oh, makes sense. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That tracks. It was Copilot. Oh. all of our financials just have a lot of made up numbers in them. We don't know why. Yeah, so now a 15th layer. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, Phil wanted to do 15 layers of management. He wanted to COO, but that was too much. Yeah, keep it at 14. Be responsible. It's got to stay at 14. Well, this is good to have somebody, again, with a lot of experience in this that also is going to be in charge. End-to-end profit and loss responsibility across content, hardware, platform, services. She will be in charge of overseeing all of it to make sure all of it is performant and keeping in line financially. Like, I'm shocked that was ever not a thing, but okay. Thank you, Dave McCarthy, who is retiring after 17 years with Xbox. Dave has played a defining role in building the platform that millions of players rely on every day and has been a trusted partner through many of the biggest moments in Xbox's history. We wish him the best. This was Dave McCarthy. Xbox. He's labeled, this is confusing. He's labeled as the COO at Xbox. So I guess I don't understand. He's labeled as COO at Xbox, but he's retiring. And she said that for the first time we're establishing a chief. Okay, so here's what I think. I think we're deciphering it. They had a COO who was Dave. Dave retired, whether he was welcome to retire or not, but he retired. But the new position is going to be overhauled specifically to make sure the COO has end-to-end P&L responsibility. This, as she's overhauling this right as he's retiring, this makes me think that maybe she said, I think it's time for you to retire. I think we're going to put somebody new in position. That's what it sounds like to me. 17 years with Xbox is a good run as well, but it sounds like they needed somebody new in that position. Because again, he's the COO and then the company got to 3% margins. That seems like, yeah, GTFO. Yeah, a little bit. These changes are about a bigger future for Xbox, not a smaller one. The next decade of gaming will be larger, more global, and more creative than anything we've seen before. This year, this is interesting. This year, we'll invest as much in Xbox as we ever have, but we'll invest with greater focus, greater discipline, and greater clarity, all in service of making Xbox where the world plays and creates. I want Xbox to be one of the few companies that entertains more than 1 billion people each day and gives everyone the opportunity to create and connect. I know we can achieve this goal. Xbox has many of the most beloved franchises in entertainment history, talented studios around the world, and we will return to growth in 2027. History is full of companies that mistake longevity for inevitability. We will not be one of them, Asha. Which is true. Pride comes before the fall, as they say. Now, here's the overall breakdown of where we're at with everything. So it's clear Xbox needs major change. I think everybody would agree with that. I think even the most hardcore Xbox fans would agree they need a lot of change. Okay. They would need to shake things up a lot. That's not really a controversial take, I don't think, but they need to change a lot. Asha's coming in and is doing that. The choices she's making are specifically to overhaul the business and try specifically to refocus on their key pillar IP and franchises. So that means doubling down on Call of Duty, on Minecraft, on the mobile games with like King, Elder Scrolls, Fallout, stuff like that. The stuff that makes money, focus on that. Stuff that isn't making money, don't focus on, which is why they're offloading a lot of these studios. Now, beyond that, hardware is like the omnipresent elephant in the room because there doesn't really seem to be an easy way of dealing with that. There doesn't seem to be an easy solution for anybody, for PlayStation or Microsoft with Xbox. Everything sucks, okay? Because like even if they wait till 2028 to launch the next gen of hardware, it's not clear whether prices will be lower by that point either. It just seems like no matter what you do, unless you wait 5 years, everything's just going to be stupid expensive. So what does the gaming world look like if gaming hardware is outrageously expensive? I personally think it's going to be doubling down on cloud gaming and stuff like that, on used hardware, on refurbished hardware, on financing your hardware, stuff like that. I think that's where they're going to put a lot of the focus, but they're actively figuring that out. I don't know where they'll settle with that. But beyond that, it seems like she's also trying to double down on operational efficiency improvements, which is good. 14 layers of management, as I said earlier, is just ridiculous. I mean, it's just outrageous to go through this many people to make any decision within a company. Even if it's a big international company, the idea that you have to go through that much or that many headaches to get anything done is outrageous. And it starts to make sense why you can have such disconnected decision making, so many delays between decisions, and it just is bizarre. Because again, if one of these guys lower in the ranks raised a very good point, it was like, hey, this is going to go over super poorly if you announce it this way. This is an Xbox campaign is stupid. Gamers will hate it. They could say that. But by the time it goes up, the next 12 layers of management, all of that nuance has been lost. And then you end up with managers making really out of touch decisions because they're like, oh, well, we got approval from everybody in the chain, so we're good, you know? And then that's why it happens where we heard the stories where apparently Xbox management was like kind of befuddled by fans disliking some of their decisions. It's like, it's not that surprising to anybody down here among normal people, but like that just is how it happens, you know? When people are out of touch, they're out of touch. Now, with all this, there is kind of the danger, I think, which is to mistake change for good change, or to just assume that because Asha is shaking stuff up, therefore it's the right decisions. Asha's version of Xbox probably won't be fully realized and seen for another 1.5 to 2 years. Right now, it seems like, she's taken over the ship. She's cutting all the ropes that have tangled it up in its rudder, and now she's going to try to push off to sea, but it's not clear yet whether as a captain she's actually competent sailing the ship or she'll take it in the right direction at all. But based on what we're seeing right now, she is identifying clearly insane things that previous management didn't seem to care about or know how to fix. People saying bring Phil back. I think the truth of the matter is that if Phil had tried to run Xbox for another year, I think Satya would have just shut it down completely, honestly. Like, I don't think Satya is that worried about shuttering businesses he spent billions on. He's done it before, whether you look at Mixer, whether you look at the Windows Phone, other stuff. Like, Microsoft as a company, not even just Satya, but Microsoft as a company is not afraid of shutting stuff down if it's not making money. And Xbox has not been making money. It's been hemorrhaging money. She's describing how it's losing 64 cents for every dollar they invest. That's bad. That is bad. Okay. So I think if Phil were to stay in position, it would have gotten worse. And then Satya probably would have just shuttered it and gutted it. I think Satya, amazingly enough, after all that time, he should have recognized it sooner, but Satya finally decided enough was enough and put Asha in charge. And pretty much where we are is we're left with a choice to believe Satya and Asha when they say what their mandate is, or to reject it and assume they're lying. Because what Satya Nadella has said and what Asha Sharma has said is that they are the mandate, the requirement is to save Xbox and to rebuild it into one of the biggest entertainment companies and brands in the world. That's what Satya wants Asha to do. Some people still think that she's being brought in to shut it down. Some people still think that she's being brought in just to slowly kill it and then, save face and try to avoid a PR nightmare or whatever. I think so far her actions would dictate or suggest rather that I think she's trying. I think if they were going to just shut it down, they would just shut it down. I don't know why you spend a year or two continuing to burn money and make a bunch of difficult decisions if you're just going to shut it down anyways. I think they are trying to save it. Whether or not they can remains to be seen, but I do think that they are at least making changes that are good. 14 layers of management, insane. Crazy expenses, insane. They're greenlighting games that I don't think ever really made sense. I love Double Fine. It never really made sense to spend millions, even if it's only like 5 million or 10 million. I don't know what Kiln's budget was, but I don't think that was a game that made sense to have one of your first party studios working on. I just don't see it. Same with South of Midnight, I think could make sense. And there were people that really liked it, but other like weird attempts at live service spin-off stuff, weird attempts at really niche games or other stuff that just don't connect. Like Hellblade 2, the fact that Senua's Saga Hellblade 2 was greenlit and allowed to go out at like 4 hours of content. I just don't understand what on earth they were thinking there. But I think overall they are making changes and those changes are in the right direction. Is it enough? That remains to be seen. But I do think that at the very least they are identifying problems and they're stepping in the right direction, because pretty clearly Xbox was headed in the total wrong direction for years and somehow was left unchallenged and unfixed and unaddressed. As for some of the other stuff that's happening, so as she outlined, 1,600 roles will be eliminated today. It's not super clear where exactly those are, but 1,600 roles. A lot of these, I think, are probably in those middle manager positions. So a lot of those roles are going to be the people in the middle of this stack that weren't really needed, and you can flatten the operations down. She identifies immediately after bringing that up that the middle manager problem was severe. And so I think that that's where a lot of these numbers are going to be. No doubt there still will be teams and developers that lose their jobs, but I think a lot of the people in the middle manager positions are the ones most in danger. And if they aren't today, they will be in the next 50% that get laid off over the next year or so. It looks like everybody's going to be hit. So all studios are going to be hit, but I think part of that is going to be layoffs and restructurings aiming to increase agility and get stuff done faster. As we've said, like, we've identified issues at other studios where we're baffled that they are working on stuff. Like BGS is the classic example where they release an update, it breaks Fallout 4, and everybody's like, what the hell are you doing? And it takes, 19 months to fix it and to undo the patch. It took 19 months for them to unbreak VATS in Fallout 4, which is unbelievable. Unbelievable that it took 19 months. It's crazy, absolutely outrageous. But it starts to make sense when you're like, oh, well, to do it, they have to get approval for the budget to get the team to be assigned to fix that. Otherwise, they have to just keep working on Elder Scrolls 6 and Starfield stuff. So we have to send this email, and it's got to go up to there, and it's got up to there, and it's got to go all the way back up. And then it gets approved, goes back down here. Okay, yeah, we'll start working on it. We'll put it on the schedule. It starts to make sense why it takes 19 months to do any damn thing. But hopefully with the restructurings, they can increase efficiency. But as always, I mean, as she outlines here, a year-long restructuring creates additional challenges. It's not possible, though, to make all the necessary changes in a single day, which is true. I mean, this takes time. But I think that these changes, at the very least, should get Xbox performing closer to the way that they should have been operating this whole time. You know? Compulsion Games just released their statement. Yeah, Compulsion. They did it like right before stream. So as you can see, when Compulsion Games was founded in 2009 as an independent studio, we were just a few dreamers in a leaky old gramophone factory devoted to creating rich storylines and experiences that felt handcrafted. We care about the craft of making games, the stories we tell, the players who experience them, and assembled creators who put their heart and soul into doing something different. Today, we're sharing that Compulsion Games will return to an independent management following our time as part of Xbox. As part of this transition, we will retain the rights to Contrast, We Happy Few, and our award-winning South of Midnight. We're grateful for the years we spent with Xbox, for the support they provided our team, and for the opportunity to bring these games to players around the world. As an independent studio, we are excited to continue building the distinctive games that define Compulsion while taking the next steps in our journey. Our immediate priority is to support the team throughout this transition period. We're confident in the future of Compulsion Games. Look forward to the next chapter where one thing will remain constant. We will create unique games that tell important stories, and all the goal of touching the hearts and minds of our players. Which, again, to give them an off-ramp and give them the ability to not just immediately be shuttered, I'm kind of surprised by it. I was ready for them to just announce that they were shutting everything down, but they're not, which color me surprised. I was expecting just full rip the cord. That's what I thought it was going to be, but there you go. Anyway, let me see real quick. Near to Rich, thank you for the 5. Luke, I need to rant. I got a PS5 Pro dual wireless sense controller and an OLED monitor just so I can experience Black Flag all over again. And did you see the naval packs and pay to win gear? I saw are you talking about the like cosmetics? I'm not sure what naval packs are. I'm assuming cosmetics is what you're describing. And the pay to win gear, I think the gear, the DLC or whatever you call it, microtransaction, like skins and stuff, have stats associated with them. And going back, I mean, I think it was AC Valhalla is when I first ranted about it, because AC Valhalla had some skins that were just like, they applied like poison, they applied like all sorts of status effect. Like they were ridiculously powerful, and you could get them if you bought them immediately, and then the game was like ridiculously easy. It just like broke the game basically. So yeah, I think they're doing the same thing with Black Flag. If for some reason, it's why it's always been funny to me when Ubisoft does it, or any studio does it, but when you're like, yeah, we're gonna sell you something that will make the game worse. I don't understand it. It's like, pay us $20, you get this skin that doesn't really have a visual place within the world, and it is so powerful that it breaks the game. Like I don't understand why they do that. I think what it is that they want you to buy it after you finish the game, and then it's like end game gear, I think is the idea. But if you buy it at the beginning of the game, it just breaks it. You know, I don't know why they do that. What they need to do with all these games is just have a transmog system. And if you want to go crazy visuals, just do visuals, or just the cosmetics have no gameplay effects, but people like gameplay effects on gear. So I get that, but do it that way. Like where DLC skins are just transmogged like visual alterations or something. Like, just do that. But yeah, that's unfortunately kind of a Ubisoft staple at this point. I've made fun of them for that a lot. I think it's silly. Let's see. Mojang and King being singled out means the monetization is going to be more aggressive. Watch a 5-minute Game Pass ad to kill the Ender Dragon. That would be kind of funny if they did that. But I don't think so. I think it just means that they're going to do
At the
like a
review
lot more
show,
doubling down on that.
2,400 donated $20 through Super Chat.
Thank you.
If hardware getting expensive and the people they want to go for can't afford it, why not just become a publisher studio on PC and stop making consoles? Sony was rumored to have their own platform.
Sony was rumored to have their own platform on PC. They would save money. I think the real money, honestly, is not in publishing. The real money is in having the platform. The reason why Apple is actually, in terms of money, like the number one or one of the top 3 gaming companies in the world is not because they make games. It's because they own the App Store that takes 30% of every microtransaction. So the platform is where the real money gets made, because you build it and then everybody else does the work and you just get to take rent every single day. You know, that's where the real money is. And that's where or why Xbox wants to get back to that, because that's something that they would love, is to have a really healthy platform again. But you need players, you know, you need players. As for Sony was rumored to have their own platform on PC, they would save money. I think for Sony, what they realize is that PC is a lot harder to wrangle than console is. What they learned with Helldivers 2 was that PC players do not roll over and take stuff that you can do with a console fan base on or captive fan base on console. They just don't. Like, all PlayStation wanted was for people to connect their PlayStation account to their Steam account for Helldivers 2. And dude, it went mega viral multiple times over, like over something that is, let's be honest, fairly small. That's not that big of a deal. But PC gamers don't take no BS. They don't take no crap from nobody, you know? Like, they don't care. So I think there's that. I think also for PlayStation, what they realized was that the more they leaned into PC, it just gave their console players a reason to go to PC. Because if you put all of your exclusive games on PC, a lot of people were just starting to jump ship, go over to PC, the more open platform. And PlayStation kind of panicked and was like, oh, well, we kind of need you on the platform. That's where we make the most money, is with you having your PlayStation Plus account, with you buying our accessories, with you buying the hardware, with you buying things through the PlayStation Store, where we take 30%, even if we didn't make the game. You know, they realized that it wasn't as simple as just, you know, put this pot on this burner and this pot on this burner. It doesn't actually work that way, where they all operate the same independently, you know? So I think there's a lot of reasons why PlayStation decided PC was strategically not where they should be putting a lot of their eggs, in the single player basket. For multiplayer, they'll continue to do it because more players are more players. But yeah, I think there's a lot of reasons for it. As for Xbox, it just is really simple. I think Xbox just wants a platform. Xbox wants a platform. That's where the real money is, you know? Didn't Sony report they made serious bank on their PC ports? Initially, they were making pretty good money on them, for sure. Later on, the later ports seemed to really tail off, like, a lot. They were not generating anywhere near the excitement, which makes sense. I mean, obviously, if you release a PC port of a game that launched a year or two ago, there's not going to be as much excitement as if you launch it close to the launch, or day and date, certainly. But I think it's for them, it was more of a strategic choice. I don't know how many tens of millions it might cost them to do a PC port of something, but it's probably a pretty hefty penny. And then they have to market it, and then they have to maintain it for years with updates and stuff. It's not as simple as just quickly press export for PC and then we'll publish it. It's not that simple. And for them strategically, it seems like it wasn't worth the headache. That's at least what they think. But I mean, PlayStation's also made some baffling decisions recently, so they may be totally being super dumb. I mean, you never know. It could be a lot. Let's see. So say we all. Thank you for the. So say we all. That's what it is. Thank you for the 5. I'd love to know why post the acquisitions they felt it necessary to keep so many redundant managers. I think that they just expanded and then they didn't want to do what is a tough thing to do, which is mass layoffs to get rid of bloat. They did it a few times, but usually it was targeting individual studios. It just seems like Phil was a good big picture games guy. It doesn't seem like he had a lot of the mechanical managerial expertise that was needed to run Xbox efficiently, you know. Spark, thank you for the 5. What do you think is the chance the buyer for Undead and Ninja was Epic and Epic makes them Epic exclusives? I think Ninja Theory would be very welcome in PlayStation. I don't think PlayStation is going to buy them though. It could be Epic because I think Epic likes the idea of having like fancy studios like that can use their tools, and they also are really experienced with Epic or with Unreal Engine, obviously. So maybe that they would be a good fit. As for like, well, I guess honestly, yeah, maybe Undead is also Epic because that's also Unreal Engine, isn't it? So that might not actually be a bad idea, honestly. I didn't really think about that, but yeah, I mean, you might be right. That might actually be the best bet because they both are Unreal Engine teams. They make pretty good showcase games for them. So that could be it. That could make sense. The review show, thank you for the 20. Very generous. Appreciate you again for that. Thank you. That was very kind. And then Drassel, thank you for the 2. Are you excited for Too Dark to Arisen? For Dragon's Dogma, you mean? I was like combined. I was like just the two numbered. Anyway. Yeah, I'm intrigued. I haven't done a lot of digging on it, so I'm not totally sure what to expect, but I am intrigued by it. I don't think anybody expected them to do a DLC for that. I don't think anybody was ready for that, but you know what? I'm willing to be amazed. I'm willing to see it. Rob, oh, did you super chat? Did it get buried? Hold on, Rob. I'm coming for you, Rob. I'm looking. Oh yeah, I missed a couple. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry. How did I miss those? I don't know how I missed it. Rob, thank you for the 5. Have you heard the rumor that Halo is being considered to be put under the supervision of Activision Blizzard? Please, for the love of God, no. You don't want a Snoop Dogg skin in Halo? Dude, imagine if they did like a DLC or like a microtransaction where all of the little grunts are replaced with Lil Wayne skins. And it's you know, to scale. It's just Lil Wayne. Little fella running around. Lil Weezy as he's like shooting at. I think that would honestly be good. Honestly, I'd pay it, frankly. I'd spend a lot of money on that. But I think if that rumor is true, which I think it was basically just, was it Jez Corden or something? It was Jez Corden. No, it is Jez Corden, right? Yeah, no, it is Jez Corden. For a second, I was thinking of the talk show host. Anyway, Jez Corden, yeah, I think maybe it was him on a podcast or something where he was just describing like thinking off the dome. Maybe they do this, maybe they do that. I don't think it was actually like happening. But if anything, I think they're trying to find a way to make Halo more efficient because it's insane that they take so long to do so little. So James, yes, James Corden versus Jez Corden. That's why it tripped my brain. You're right. Let's see. And then Sierra, thank you for that too. Which watch did you pick in First Light? I picked the one that they are selling at Omega with like it's like the dark outer ridge, like the gray and then the gold lines in the middle. I picked those. I picked that one. When I met Hakan, IO Interactive. When I met Hakan in LA, we went to like the 007 celebratory thing. Super cool guy. He's an OG. This is like the guy behind Hitman, behind Freedom Fighters, all that. He's super cool. Met him a couple of times. Really cool guy. But he has that 007 watch, and he has that same band. You know, it was good. It's a good looking watch. I'll tell you what. Omega knows what they're doing. It's a good looking watch. Tell you what. It was really cool. Anyway, Jonas, thank you for 13 months watching the World Cup. Norway won against Brazil in the knockouts, and people are already out in the streets doing pull-up in 14 feet tall lampposts at 4 a.m. Jesus. I've been keeping up with it. I haven't been like, doing watch parties or stuff, but I've been keeping up with it. Yeah, no, it's crazy to see like everybody so unified in one like big epic World Cup. It's really cool. But anyway, good to see you, Daniel. Glad to have you here. Glad you made it to your first one. Only time will tell if amputation is the right decision for Xbox. Yeah, I mean, I think it's basically you come in and try doing different stuff, or you shut it all down. Nerdy Giant, thank you for the 10. Very generous. So no studio closures, but Xbox only focusing on their bigger franchises kind of concerns me. Less investment in original ideas. Well, I think the idea is that you get the company healthy and then you can afford to do that. I think the point is they can't afford to burn 50 million here, 100 million there on ideas and games that probably don't turn a profit. They just can't do that. Maybe in 5 years when the platform gets healthy again, but as of right now, you just can't do that. Just can't. Can't do it. Nasmi, thank you for the 5. The Activision Blizzard purchase was so dumb it would take Activision 25 years at $3 billion profit a year for it to break even. I do think it was excessive, and I think most industry analysts that have looked at the deal since have determined that they bought it literally at the peak. If they bought it today, it would be worth a lot less, for sure. Starscream Reed, thank you for that. I don't understand. Oh, very generous 10. Thank you. I don't understand that 64 cents for every dollar. If they have a retention issue at a studio or they fire everyone at a project launch to avoid bonus, doesn't that impact the ROI? Well, so to be clear, what she's describing is broad investment. So when she says we're losing 64 cents on every dollar invested, what she means is that that's across all of Xbox. So if they have investment expenditure that is involved across all the studios, across R&D for the next gen console, across marketing, across retirement accounts, like everything. If you're just putting $1 in the bucket, they're instantly losing 64 cents of it because of how the business is currently run. Which makes it really hard to justify investing in your business if you know so much of it is instantly just going to disappear due to structural issues, It just doesn't work. Making Todd the subpar RPG disc. Come on, man. I wish that was intentional, but sometimes happy accidents happen. Let's see. And then it's worth bearing in mind that on top of that, Microsoft's. Oh, I did read that one. Okay, I think that we're caught up there. Beast of Reincarnation is still one of the most interesting games coming this year. I want to see what the Pokemon devs can do when Nintendo isn't there. I'm also intrigued by that. I don't know. It is looking way better than when they first revealed it. So I want to know more. Ozzy, think about the 5. Hypothetically, what if we take AAA studio that may be in financial trouble and get them to separate into smaller teams and make multiple AA games? I mean, that's kind of what Obsidian has tried to do, right? Like Obsidian was trying to just crank out big stuff, but then they decided to break up a little bit and work on multiple smaller projects at the same time. So like you have Grounded, you have Avowed, you have Outer Worlds, and they're doing all of that at the same time. So you can do that. And I think you can find success with it if they perform well enough. You just, make a bunch of smaller cakes instead of one big, massive cake. That's basically what they're doing. Basically. So yeah, I think so. What original ideas have been successful recently? I mean, obviously, like Expedition 33 is like wacky and crazy and is probably the biggest, most successful out of nowhere. But there's, other games, Mecha Chameleon, smaller stuff. Like the stuff that's really popping off more regularly and being super successful out of nowhere tend to be the smaller stuff. Dispatch is probably another good idea. Yeah, that's another good one. Yeah, Dispatch also blew up really big. That's true. Xbox should offer financing on Project Helix bundled with Game Pass. Oh, I think they will. Asha said in one of her posts that they're investigating that. As for whether they can do leased programs, I'm not sure, honestly. They might be able to. I don't know how that works. Though. Just being honest. Call of Duty 2023? Hell yeah. I don't even remember what that one was called. Anyway, okay. All of entries. Did my chat go through? Let me check. Oh yeah, a couple. Is this one? Okay. Gamer Engineers with this one, 2 months. I don't think Double Fine or Compulsion Games will be alive after 2 years, but we'll see. We'll see. I mean, it depends a lot on who their buyers are. If it's Epic Games, I think they'd be pretty safe and secure. I think pretty safe and secure. And I think also Epic Games, let's be real, Epic Games really wants some PR wins. And so maybe them being the rescuers of those studios, that's what they're looking at. And they could probably, honestly, you could probably get a pretty good deal on those studios if you bought them out right now. Just being honest. Olive Trees, thank you for the 5. Hey, Luke, I also have a family. How much time do you spend gaming? Has become more work than a fun hobby for you. I was thinking about this recently. For me, it's pretty much like, of course I can game or I can do stuff during the workday if it's for like a review or something, and I can manage time there. As for like my free time, usually once the kids go down at like 8 p.m., I can hop on and play games for a few hours or play games with friends for a few hours. Like I mentioned earlier in the stream, I've been doing Divinity Original Sin 2 with some friends. That's been great. Hop on some Mecha Chameleon for a little bit, play with my siblings. It's a really good time. It's just about finding the time and then making the most of it. I've been fortunate enough that because I can cover and play so many different games and talk about so many different games that it stays pretty fresh for me. I feel for the guys that do like the Call of Duty content and they have to just talk about Call of Duty day in, day out, year round, every year. Like I would lose my mind. But thankfully I can talk about so many different things. I don't really get pinned down that way. And that's because of you guys. So thank you. Appreciate you. Thank you. How much time do you allot for work/games normally, Luke? I mean, I try to do like a pretty straightforward 9 to 5, like from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. is like work time. And then after that, if there's time to do other stuff, I'll still work after that. Like I regularly record videos at night. I regularly am like doing stuff, paperwork at midnight. Like if I have to get my accountant information or do stuff like that, script or outline stuff, I'll do that whenever. You're kind of always on. But as for like sitting in the studio, working, filming, doing stuff, playing a game, recording footage or whatever, often that's just 9 to 5. Yeah. I'm old Eric. Thank you for the 5. To get people to buy Helix, maybe they'll offer a loyalty discount if you have previously bought any Xbox 360, One Series, etc. Thoughts? I mean, that could be cool. Or maybe they offer like a discount on Game Pass. If you've been a member for a while, they give you like 2 months for free or something like that. They could do it that way. Because then they're not really eating any costs. They're just giving you a free digital subscription or something. That could work. Let's see. And then Dressel, thank you for the 5 as well. I wonder if the PC parts inflation will affect GTA 6 sales. PC parts, I'm not sure. DRAM, I think, is going to limit the number of consoles out there. Like, I do think the PlayStation 5 Pro base model and the series consoles are all going to sell out. Like, no joke, if you have not bought a next gen console and you want to do it for GTA 6, not only should you probably do it sooner rather than later because costs are going to go up and prices are rising. Like Switch 2, I think prices go up in August, maybe, I don't remember. But costs are going to go up for consoles again. Like I think PlayStation is going to raise prices again before GTA 6 launches. So you should probably do it sooner rather than later. But as for the other stuff, I think you will see stuff sell out. Like I think consoles will sell out multiple times before, like from now to the launch for sure. Luke, will you stream Black Flag Resynced? I would like to. Yes, there are restrictions and limitations on what we can and can't do. So I'll have to double check because I actually read the embargoes, but I would like to. I would like to. Okay. I don't understand why Steam doesn't subsidize the Steam machine with mandatory $200 Steam gift card with the purchase. They could do that. I think really what it is, it just comes down to they don't need to. Like Steam just doesn't need to. They're doing just fine. You know, they don't need to win market share. They don't need to prove anything to anybody. They don't need to lose money on each console sold. Like they are totally fine as is. So why bother? Why give away $200 when they don't need to? And honestly, let's be real. It's going to sell out anyways. It already technically did, I think, in the first batch. Like it's going to sell out anyways because scalpers going to scoop it up. They're going to like, what's the point? And honestly, right now, when you initially launch new gaming hardware, it seems like instantly it'll sell out to scalpers anyways. So those initial discounts, unless you can limit it to, so like you only sell it to accounts that are 5 years old or something, those initial sales, they all are going to just be benefiting the scalpers because the scalper will buy it $200 off and then still sell it for $3,000, you know? It just sucks. It just sucks. But anyway. Fam. My sister is almost here. She's coming to visit. So even though this is way shorter than our normal streams, I'm gonna call it there because I'm gonna say hi to her and hang out. We still went for an hour 45 talking about some depressing news, but there you go. I appreciate you guys. Thanks so much for chilling with me. Again, kind of a shorter, weirder stream, but I appreciate you guys hanging regardless. Have a wonderful rest of your Monday. I'll either be back maybe tomorrow or Wednesday. I gotta see kind of how the days play out. And we'll do a much longer stream. Okay. Just a tight, short stream for today. You know, I like it tight. You know how I am. Dog. I'm so sorry. Much love, everybody. I'll talk to you guys again soon. Much love. Stay safe. Hugs and kisses. Bye-bye. Mwah.